GPS Visualizer creates Google Earth overlays. It runs on the internet as a web tool, so you'll need to have internet access to create an overlay. Incidentally, the GPS Visualizer website lists many other ways that this web-based service can be used to help you create interesting data displays. Part 1 showed examples of the power of spatial data visualization, when data are displayed using Google Earth. Now, let's see how simple it is to use your own data, to make a Google Earth overlay. Each location point has 5 data fields. The first 2 data fields are the latitude and longitude of the location that you want to mark. The third data field is the name of the location. This name should be short and not contain a comma. The fourth data field, called the color, is for the qualitative value. Qualitative values are categories. Each qualitative category is given a different color. The fifth, and final data field, is designated by the letter N. This is a value which is used to control the size of the location marker. You should use whole numbers, and they should be scaled so that the size of each marker is reasonable, and fits appropriately on the Google Earth display. You should follow this model, which has 5 data fields for each location, when you are creating your own data records. Let me give you more background about some of these data fields. We use latitude and longitude values to mark locations. There are a number of ways that you can obtain the latitude and longitude of a place. If you have a GPS receiver, you can go to the place and transcribe the location shown on the GPS display. An alternative is to mark the location as a GPS waypoint. This will save the location in a file, along with all of the other waypoints that you mark. GPS Visualizer has a tool that lists the latitudes and longitudes of all of the saved waypoints and helps you extract these values. You can also use Google Earth, with its satellite imagery, to find locations. Either read the latitude and longitude from the computer monitor or use place marks to save locations. The place mark file can be edited to obtain the location values. GPS Visualizer has a freehand drawing tool. This tool lets you identify places on a variety of different maps and satellite images. You can mark locations, and store them in a file. This file can then be translated to an easy-to-read format. The important point to remember is that you can either get locations from taking observations at important locations, or you can obtain locations from maps and satellite photos. Many people write latitude and longitude values as degree, minutes and seconds. However, GPS Visualizer uses the decimal degree format for latitude and longitude values. If you are using a GPS receiver, or using Google Earth to obtain the latitude and longitude of locations, you can set the display to show decimal degrees. However, if you only have locations in the degree, minute, second format, then convert your values to the decimal degree format using the GPS Visualizer calculator screen. This calculator is one more of GPS Visualizer's useful tools. There are many colors which can be used to represent the qualitative categories. This list shows the default Google color names. There are many other color names which are recognized. However, this starting list will probably be adequate. There are several ways to assemble your data into a file that will be used to create your Google Earth overlay. A spreadsheet program, such as Microsoft Excel, is a very handy way to organize your data. The data fields are the spreadsheet columns. Save your spreadsheet in a CSV format. CSV stands for comma-separated values. An alternative is to simply type your data into a text file editor. Windows Notepad is an example of such an editor. This may be the easiest way to do it, if you only have a few data points. You can also enter your data directly into GPS Visualizer. If you do this, make sure that you save your data, just in case you need to edit any of the data values. The same data format is used with all of the procedures that are used to enter your data. There are several important things to note about this format. The first row must have the names of the data fields. You should use the names shown here. Each data field name is separated with a comma. If you are entering your data in a spreadsheet, then type the data field names in the top row, as column headers. Each of the data field values in the following lines is separated with a comma. Blanks are optional. Prepare your data in this way and it will be understood in the next step. You are now going to use your data to create a Google Earth overlay. This overlay will show your data points and they will be displayed on top of Google Earth. You should have already completed the first step by creating a data file with the information about each of your locations. The next step is to start a web browser and go to the GPS Visualizer website. When you are at the GPS Visualizer website, you'll want to click on the Plot Data Points link. GPS Visualizer is going to use your data and create an overlay. This procedure may seem like a lot of work, but you'll see that your result is just a few clicks away. There are two ways to get your data into GPS Visualizer. You can browse to the file with your data. Just click on the Choose File button to get started. The alternative is to copy and paste your data into the data window. If you do the copy and paste method, make sure that you replace the default header that is in this window. This window should have only your own data header and data lines. Remember that the data header is the row with the 5 data field names. That must always be the top line in your data. There are just 2 GPS Visualizer options which need to be changed. The first one is very important. You need to make sure that the output format is Google Earth KML. Use the drop-down menu to change to this format, if necessary. The other important GPS Visualizer option controls the maximum size of a map location circle. Using a value of 16 is a good place to start. But you may want to change this after you see your map. You are now ready to send your data off for processing. Just click the Draw the Map button, and GPS Visualizer will go to work. It should only take a few seconds. You will know the processing is done when a new screen appears. This new screen will have a link to a file which has been created with your Google Earth overlay. The name of this file ends in KML or KMZ. You will want to save this file. You can do that by right-clicking on the name, and choosing Save File As. Make sure that you are saving the file to an appropriate location. It is also useful to give this file a new name, one which you will recognize. You have now created, and saved, an overlay file for Google Earth. There are 2 ways to place your overlay on top of Google Earth. You can double-click on the KML file link which GPS Visualizer has created. This will run Google Earth, and place your overlay in the appropriate location. The other way is to start up Google Earth. Then drag and drop your overlay file on top of Google Earth. Your overlay will be placed in the correct location. I hope that you appreciate how straightforward it is to create your own Google Earth overlays. Remember that the goals of creating these overlays centers on helping you plan, carry out, and interpret your research studies. As always, it is important to practice doing new tasks, such as creating Google Earth overlays. That is the path to mastering a skill.